Hey, universe. I don't even have the appropriate gloss to somehow hmm, yada yada the last 10 days of disconnect into a package that makes even sense to me. So, I didn't want to bring the confusion and disorientation that June has presented me without having some essence of purpose springing forth from the work I've had to do to unwind again the ways that I've been trained to think. It's hard to even ponder outcomes and final possibilities when the roads start looking like they're going to upend everything. Who wants to take a path that represents the complete deconstruction of what you think is true? And, you start thinking you're crazy to even believe that such knowledge, such epiphany, such realization exists. Only the crazy think that the world is filled with the kind of lies and misdirect that these roads show you are possible. So the sane people never even have to veer away from those paths. The troubled people know they exist but resist their pull. Only the insane turn and head down roads that offer no consolation but only grief. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I certainly, at the age of 14, would qualify the muddled mental meandering that I seemingly must pursue. Well, that 14-year-old version of me would think I'm a nut. And might be right. In fact, it's almost as hard to justify these dissociative thoughts as legitimate as it is to persist in a daily routine of living a lie. If if you're investigating a murder and every piece of evidence points at your mother as the culprit, it's reckless to allow your opinion that, well, I know my mother and she just couldn't have done this, to override what is otherwise convincing evidence pointing toward her culpability. Yet the idea that you have to now integrate this action taken by her with all of your life's experience as to who she is It's literally shattering. For now, you have to question as much your own sense of judgment as you do the character and construct that has represented motherhood your whole life. Both those roads look horrible. So, you become the one person who shows up on Dateline saying, I know what the evidence says, Seth, but my mother couldn't have done it. Well, I know what the evidence says, but the Egyptians didn't build that pyramid. Oh, hello, Tingly. It's not even just thinking you're crazy that hurts. Which it does. Especially when your analysis and mental processes of investigation feel so intact and convincingly progressive in every other way you're taking in reality. How acute and aware can you be if you're going insane? How can both of those conditions exist simultaneously in a mental head? It's the one thing that keeps me from thinking I need my long sleeve coat that wraps around so I don't hurt myself or my cat. But it's not now that I've ever felt less needing of dissecting my mind. My mind is nothing but clarity and progress. So what's the Mandela effect, right? How did two more people show up in JFK's limo? How did the Earth change orientation? How did New Zealand move? How did South America move? How did the Berenstain Bears never exist? In one of my most specific childhood memories that includes the spelling of Berenstain. How is that false? In the mystical wandering of thinking you're a non-player character in a simulated universe that has been swip-swapped in slightly variant versions of Earth. This one, 8675309. I guess 6 people were in that limo. Okay. Fine. Whatever. I'm insane. But why does it look like everybody else has swallowed lie after lie after lie after lie after lie and are now walking around in a universe that, for whatever reason, truth does not vet out, and the zombies carrying the pie of lies don't even know of what they eat? Ha. Okay. Well, now you're freaking crazy. Disconnect, 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 disconnect. And I here alone, well, other than my poor dog whose nails on the hardwood floor find their way onto recording after recording. Because other than 5 minutes of interaction with you humans, or time spent with animals, well, that's what I'm left with. And it's not that I don't like human beings. I am one. I like all of you. In fact, I love all of you. I think all of us are the outcome of a manipulative force that has manipulative. No, it's got to be manipulative. What do you think, Phoebe? Manipulative? Thanks for getting on the carpet. That force, why I do not know. I just know it's there. That force has overwhelmed us. It's overwhelmed our humanity. It's overwhelmed our sense of camaraderie. It's overwhelmed our fellowship toward each other. It has done everything it can to separate us from what are inherent truths as old as time. And I have absolutely no idea why. Just like I would have no idea why my mother murdered the butler with the candlestick in the library. She did what? Bullshit.
My mother? Well, okay, so all the evidence aside, my mother would never have done this.
Well, all the evidence aside, the Egyptians had to have done it. I mean, who else could have? Says the myopic little blip of a life called human being. Who else could have? I mean, in 13.8 billion years, at a minimum, according to science, of time, in a universe filled with infinite expansive matter and energy, in all of that potential, well, it had to be the Egyptians. I mean, nobody else could have done it. Huh. Oh, Jesus. I mean, no, not you, Jesus. I'm not even sure you ever existed. But those are the early lies that you come to swallow. The religious ones. And believe me, it matters. It matters that our 5, 6, 7-year-old brains, 4, 3, 2 in some situations, are inundated with nonsense thought to the point we believe it. Like the asteroid belt.
Oh, I wear a leather belt. But the solar system wears an asteroid belt.
No, it doesn't. It wears the stain of destructive force that blew a planet entirely apart. A planet on which life was abundant. A planet that, if you're a sentient soul on planet Earth, you have past life experience. I can't believe how much I'm tingling. Speaking of past lives. Past lives to me were always kind of a cool thought, but just silly. I mean, silly. Past lives implied memory of another time and experience not recallable? Weird. No way. No way. Until that simulation argument started looking pretty persuasive, right? Well, then past lives would just be programming reconfigurations in a save file somewhere in a universe full of computer data? Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, shit. I could totally be somebody who had to go back to the character screen and be revamped for a more effective approach in the game of life. Okay. So that takes me back to being the agent of another being's creation? Huh. Well, that would make swallowing the ultimate lie, that God lie, a little less abrasive if I could in fact realize my own place in this universe is one of created, cooperative inclusion in an otherwise grand programming scheme. Am I just the neighbor that keeps asking, do you know what day trash day is this week? In a Sims game of sentient beings with whom I am too base level programming to even interact with consciously? Am I just here fulfilling the algorithmic cues that some other brain wrote? Well, probably. I mean, if you get right down to it. Certainly seems to answer the most ethereal and metaphysical questions the best right now. So, why the 4.5 billion year history of Earth? Or the 13.8, pardon my misspeak, history of life attributed to the Big Bang model? Or the 155 trillion history model attributed to the ancient Sumerians? Who's got it right? Well, timing everything based on current measurement of speed and expansion of matter that, when wound in reverse, takes us to the singularity known as the Big Bang. But to me, that made the most sense, right? If we can see what's happening in real time, measure its progress against the immediate past, and then extrapolate that data back to the event that would cause these conditions, that's methodology I could get behind. Way more than, and the Lord said, let there be light. And there was light. Both models explain things. One just seems to have taken more into account of what A to B probably looks like than the other. So you get behind the stories that you're told in your textbooks because that's where truth exists. We wouldn't all be getting graded on how much of this we can regurgitate if this wasn't what we all have learned has value to regurgitate. Encyclopedia Britannica. 26 books. Well, actually 24. Of truth. Right here in the A's. Asteroid belt. Which, if I remember right, might have entertained the idea that the remnant evidence might have something to do with moon/planetary destruction, but never in the sense that did sentient life destroy that planet itself? Well, it's a lot less threatening to think, oh no, 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 no. Bunch of rocks just collected in that belt and now shoot in and out once in a while and probably killed the dinosaurs. So no, that is an easier truth to live with than the idea that that planet might have combusted via the self button. But then, I mean, immediately after reading that little blurb in your Encyclopedia Britannica during your library hour in 3rd grade, bah, bah, bah. What do you know? It's an air raid drill. Get under your desk. Because if the nuclear bombs are dropped, if I'm not under my desk, I'm liable to get killed. But that asteroid belt, well, that thing created itself. Okie dokie. Shall we go to the museum and look at the dinosaurs now? I mean, field trips to the History Museum. If it wasn't 1st grade, it was 2nd grade. The big fossilized remnants of millions of years ago on a planet that barely even exists today, at least recognizably. I'm not saying planet Earth doesn't exist. Well, I'm not saying it does. If you're not caught up in the fanfare and the extravaganza that is the accumulated base of knowledge when you're hitting school at the ripe old age of 5 or 6, it doesn't make sense. Like, kids are enthusiastically taking it all in, right? So these dinosaur bones, this is like the coolest thing you've ever seen. You instantly become a massive fan of dinosaurs. At least if you're me. I had models of them. I had books. I had everything but Barney. Because I'm too old for Barney. I'm not too old for something called Land of the Lost. Anything that had a dinosaur in it. Anything. Because, wow, is that ever the greatest story I've ever heard. That this planet, at one time, sustained the kind of life that, thanks to Steven Spielberg, will come alive on screens in a movie called Jurassic Park in my 20s. Bonanza. I saw Jurassic Park opening day and would have been announcing it for a month that I had the ticket. So much did I look forward to what, frankly, turned out to be one of the greatest cinematic experiences I ever endured. And endured is a strong word. Loved it. So, it's weird to think that now I'm uncertain dinosaurs even really existed. And my one sticking point is, why did it take 2 white dudes in America in 1859 to find and construct the first dinosaur? when mankind has been drilling the earth since I can speak to. Our history is filled with pulling things out of the ground and making use of them. But we never found dinosaur bones till 1859? Oh, no. We had lots of them. We just didn't recognize them. Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, what other answer do you have for that? Paradox, dilemma, problem, sticking point, lie. Wait, dinosaurs? Come on, man. Dinosaurs existed. Jesus Christ. What are you, fucking crazy? I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Well then, certainly don't go looking about what Eric Dubé is talking about on that flat earth shit, right? Do not open the fucking chapter. Oh my God, why'd you open the chapter? What do you... Ugh. Well, I mean, at least if this is nonsense, that starts me thinking maybe I'm not crazy. I mean, flat earth's nonsense, right? So let me at least get some nonsense time so that I can integrate over here with the dinosaur questions. Wait a second. Why is it that we don't have a picture of planet Earth from one of our fucking satellites? That's weird. Why is everything NASA distributing photoshopped? Huh. Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh my God. This basket in which we have gently been placed so that we can float down the island, float down the river of ignorance that comforts us, that tells us my mother couldn't have done it. Well, how much do we resist letting that gentle caress disappear? Resist isn't even the word. How far will we go to buffer ourselves from... Okay, hold on. What does that sound? Is that a dog? What is that, Phoebe? I've never heard a distressed dog at that level. Even the cat's annoyed. It's got to be a dog. Well, thanks, nature, for softening the blow that is the crushing loss of the reality you thought was yours. And yet, what's truly crushing is how much time and investment you willingly gave to the structure that, when inspected with any analysis worth pursuing, well, it's filled with doubt. And I'm okay with doubt. I embrace doubt. Because doubt, when furrowed through, leads to truth. I have no problem with doubt. We don't know. We're not sure. These are contending ideas, none of which have crystallized as the absolute truth. Okay. So let's chisel away at what we know and see if we can establish more that we can hang our hat on and say that's evidence on which we can rely because it's repeatable, it's demonstrable, and it is fact-based according to that which we have learned up to this point. The idea that there isn't a true reservoir of humanity's achievement, knowledge, and acquisition of truth thus far in experiential living as we have developed is the greatest oversight we currently possess. And this includes letting all of our power structures and media integration go to shit. That's cultural recklessness at a high level and threatens everything that we are. But what we are is what we've learned and have established as truth up to this point. That's exactly what humanity is. And yet, that record doesn't exist, except perhaps in some electronic server database that is as vulnerable as can be in a galaxy full of mishap. We don't offer that to every arriving soul as that which you should pursue so that your start here is on the firmest ground it can be. Take advantage of what we know so far and teach us what we haven't learned until now. Well, that, I guess, is my point. I do have a point. I am now as committed to ferreting out truth in this universe as I've ever been. I now understand that that truth is somewhat elusive. It doesn't exist as a static line to which we are drawing closer and closer. There are fluctuations, there are quantum, entangled existence realities that influence and sway not just the direction in which we are heading, but the direction from which we have come. It isn't something that makes sense other than intuitively. As I speak these words, I know they're true. I know we are multidimensional existing creatures who have been brainwashed on planet Earth into a reality that doesn't really exist. The fact that we keep reinforcing this reality with our behaviors and actions is our fault. And no one was more conditioned to create the behaviors and actions that sustain this reality than me. So when I say this universe, as it exists for all of us, is all my fault, it's because I now see that had I lived my life in a way that was true to who I really am, filled with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness, my reality would be completely different today. So the break in conversation was necessary for me to regain my confidence that I am remembering things that I am aware of as truth. This isn't the deconstruction of a mind going insane. This is the reconstruction of a mind coming to an understanding of who I really am and why this universe is what it is in the state of decay that it currently exists. Pulling it out of this backslide isn't something I'm capable of doing. In fact, I don't even have to be concerned with the process, for it has begun. And this transition, this remembering who we are, it isn't something that can change direction. It's something that has to happen. So, my disconnect from everything that is wrong here is what is changing. The fact that that ride is full of turbulence, I can't help. I can't stop. I have to accept. And so, speaking truth, finding that which is being obscured and bringing it to a larger realization among those of us conscious enough to see it, well, I guess I don't know what else would matter more in life than that. Seriously. And not wanting to stop this on that note, I guess I'll say it's good to be back.